We sent Michael Jackson to a fictional AI therapy session. This entire session, from the dialogue to the psychological analysis, was written entirely by AI. The format is simple: a therapy session, followed by clinical commentary and final diagnosis. So, let's begin and see what unfolds when the king of pop, the man who changed music forever, Michael Jackson, meets the therapist.
Good afternoon, Michael. I'd like to start by going back to the beginning. Your childhood played out in front of the world. What do you remember most vividly from those early years?
I remember rehearsing, always rehearsing. I was 5 or 6, and we'd be in the living room, me and my brothers, dancing till our feet were sore. My father, Joe, he had this look, you didn't want to see that look. If you missed a step, you'd hear his belt more than his voice.
That sounds intense. Did you feel scared of him?
Scared? Yeah, I respected him, but it wasn't love the way most people think of love. It was discipline, survival. He used to say, "You're not kids, you're professionals." So I stopped being a kid real early. There was no playground, just the stage.
Did you ever miss just being a child?
Every single day. I used to look out the car window and see other kids playing ball, eating ice cream, and I'd wonder, why not me? But then I'd step on stage and I'd hear the screaming, and maybe that's what love feels like. Applause. That became my playground. That became my mother, my father, everything.
So the stage became a substitute for emotional connection?
Yeah, I think so. Up there, I felt safe. I could be someone else. I could dance, sing, disappear. Nobody hit me on stage. Nobody told me I wasn't good enough. People smiled. They loved me, or they loved what they saw.
What about offstage? How did you feel when the lights were off?
Alone, really alone. I'd sit in hotel rooms, gold records on the wall that can feel like a ghost. I didn't know how to talk to kids my age. I didn't know how to play. So I built my own world. That's why Neverland happened. I wanted to go back to what I never had. I wanted to rescue the boy I left behind.
Do you think part of you got frozen in that time?
Yeah, a part of me's still there. I still feel like that scared little boy sometimes. The one who didn't know if he'd get hugged or hit. The one who thought, if I just sing better, dance harder, maybe Dad will smile.
Did he ever smile?
Not the way I needed. He was proud, I guess, but I don't think he knew how to love without control. And I learned to love the same way, through performance. If I wasn't perfect, I didn't deserve love. That feeling, it never really left.
You said you built Neverland to rescue that boy you left behind. I'm curious. Many of your closest companions there were children. What did those relationships mean to you?
They were pure. Kids don't judge. They don't want anything from you but to play, to laugh, to just be. They're honest. They don't wear masks. I felt safe with them. Like I could laugh without proving anything. I saw myself in them, the boy I never got to be. I missed that kind of joy growing up. Maybe I never left that place inside. I wasn't trying to be a child. I was one, still am in ways. People twisted that, and it broke my heart. But it wasn't dark. It was light. It was innocence I was holding on to. It was healing. They brought me back to a place where magic still existed.
Before we continue, let's pause. Here's what our therapist has observed so far.
What we've seen so far is a man whose childhood was consumed by performance and perfectionism. Michael says,
There was no playground, just the stage.
And that's more than poetic. It's diagnostic. He equates love with applause and punishment with failure. That creates what we call a performative identity, where the self is constantly evaluated through others' reactions. He also says,
Maybe I never left that place inside.
referring to childhood, suggesting regression and potential identity arrest. His deep connection with children may be his way of preserving the only version of himself he finds safe. Innocent, unjudged, pre-trauma. In the next part, I want to explore how his identity evolved, or fractured, over time. The changing face, the skin, the image, the persona. Who is Michael when no one's watching? And does he even know?
Now, let's step back into the therapy room.
Michael, earlier you said they loved what they saw. I wonder, when you looked in the mirror, did you love what you saw?
I don't know. That's hard. I used to look and see my father, his eyes, his nose, and all those memories would come flooding in. Maybe that's why I didn't want that. Not on my face, not in my life. So I changed it bit by bit. People said, he's hiding. But I don't think I was hiding. Maybe I was escaping. I'm not sure.
Escaping from what?
From pain, from being seen the way they saw me. I was tired of being told I looked too black, or not black enough, or weird, or ugly. I didn't feel ugly inside, but the world made me feel like I was. So I shaped myself into something else, like clay. You mold it until it feels right. Doesn't everybody do that?
Not to the same extent. Did it ever feel like the mirror was lying to you?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I'd look and think, who is that guy? But sometimes I'd see magic, a creation, something no one had ever seen before. I wasn't trying to be white. I wasn't trying to be anything but free, but the media, they couldn't handle that. They wanted boxes, labels. I didn't fit, so I made my own shape.
Do you feel that Michael on stage, the one people cheered for, was the real you?
That's a good question. I think he was part of me, the part that could fly, the part that didn't cry. On stage, I was invincible. I could moonwalk right over the pain, but off stage, man, I was just Michael. I didn't know what to say at dinner. I didn't know how to be normal. That spotlight, it gives you power, but it takes your shadow.
So there was a split?
Yeah. 2 Michaels, maybe more. The one people saw and the one they didn't want to see. I'd smile in interviews, say, I love you more, and inside I'd be screaming. But I couldn't let it out. I didn't want to break the illusion. The world doesn't want their heroes sad. They want sparkle.
Do you still feel that way now?
Sometimes. I mean, I got used to masks. Not just the ones you wear on your face, but the ones in your soul. You wear them long enough and you forget where the skin ends and the costume begins.
And underneath all the masks, who do you think is there?
I'm not sure. Maybe a boy who just wanted to be seen, really seen. Not for the glove or the moves, but for his heart. I think I've been looking for him my whole life. Maybe I still am.
At this stage, we're seeing signs of identity disturbance, body dysmorphia, and fragmented self-concept. When Michael says,
Maybe that's why I didn't want that. Not on my face, not in my life.
he's not just recalling pain, he's attempting to erase its physical trace, which is a common trauma response. The act of reshaping his appearance wasn't vanity, it was survival, an effort to reclaim agency over a body he felt betrayed him. His words,
You forget where the skin ends and the costume begins.
point to a long-term dissociation between his true self and the persona he crafted. This blurred boundary suggests a defense mechanism against internal shame, fractured self-identity, and years of invasive public judgment. In the next part of our session, I want to explore emotional isolation and how the performance of connection may have replaced real intimacy in his life. Michael, you've talked about escaping, about not wanting to be seen. I wonder, was Neverland your escape?
Yeah, it was. It was more than a home. It was my world, my bubble. A place where I could be a kid again. No cameras, no shouting, just laughter and music and animals. I needed that badly.
Did you ever feel alone there?
All the time. It's funny. You build a kingdom so you're not alone, and somehow it makes the silence louder. I had the llamas and the carousel and Peter Pan playing on repeat. But sometimes I'd just sit in my room, and it was so quiet, it hurt.
Did you have anyone you could really talk to?
Not really. People would come and go. Some wanted something, some smiled too big. I always felt like they were seeing Michael Jackson, not me. I'd think, would they be here if I didn't sing? That kind of doubt, it gets heavy. Makes you question every hug.
And friendships?
They were hard. I didn't know how to trust. I wanted to, but fame makes it tricky. You're always guessing. I'd let someone in, and the next day it's in the papers. So I started letting fewer people in. Eventually, no one.
That sounds isolating.
It was. But in a weird way, I got used to it. The silence became company. I'd talk to trees. I'm serious. I'd walk around Neverland and just talk. To the grass, to the moon. They never judged me.
Do you think that isolation protected you or hurt you?
It protected me at first, like a blanket. But after a while, it started to feel like a cage. I thought I was safe, but I was just hiding from a world that already made up its mind about me. And the more I stayed inside, the more I disappeared, even from myself.
So, outside, you felt alone. Then you created a world where you could be yourself. But even there, it didn't give you what you needed. What did that leave you with, emotionally?
It left me confused, lost. Like maybe I didn't belong anywhere, not in the world, not even in the one I built. I kept thinking, if I can just make it perfect, I'll feel whole. But perfect doesn't hug you at night. It doesn't say, I see you. It just shines and then fades. And when the shine faded, I was still that little boy, wondering what came next.
Were you afraid of growing up?
Yeah, I was. Growing up meant getting hurt. It meant losing magic. As a kid, you believe in wonder. Adults, they lie, they leave, they break things. I didn't want that. So I stayed in Neverland, in my head, and in real life.
Did you ever want someone to really see you?
More than anything. Not the legend, not the icon, just the boy. I used to pray someone would come knock on the gates and say, hey, I'm not here for the fame, I'm here for you. But no one ever did.
Michael shows signs of using fantasy and control to protect himself from deep emotional pain. Neverland wasn't just a home. It was a way to feel safe without needing to trust people. When he says,
Perfect doesn't hug you at night.
He's realizing that no matter how beautiful his world looked, it couldn't give him real connection. And in
I was still that little boy.
we hear how stuck he feels. Like he never really grew past the pain of childhood. His isolation, his need to escape, and his distrust in others all suggest attachment wounds and emotional trauma. In the next part, I want to explore how this emotional distancing relates to control and perfectionism. Is the need to perfect his world also a way to control the chaos within? Let's see where that takes us. Michael, earlier you mentioned chasing perfection. Can we talk more about that? Where do you think that need comes from?
It's hard to explain. I just always felt like if it's not perfect, it's not good enough. And if it's not good enough, I'm not good enough. I used to spend nights rehearsing the same 8 count until my feet bled. People thought I was being dramatic, but it didn't feel optional. It felt necessary, like breathing.
Was it about control?
Maybe. Maybe control was the only thing I did have. I couldn't control my childhood or the stories people made up about me, but on stage, that was mine. I could shape every sound, every step, every light cue. If it all worked, maybe they'd stop looking so close.
Looking close at what?
At me. The parts that weren't shiny, the parts that were scared or unsure or broken. If I gave them a perfect show, that they wouldn't see the cracks.
That's a lot of pressure to carry.
Yeah. But I carried it because I thought I had to. I thought the love was conditional. Be amazing or be forgotten. So I made sure I was amazing. Again and again. Even when I was exhausted. Even when I was empty.
Michael, what did it feel like? Right after a performance, when the lights went down and the crowd faded?
It was quiet. Too quiet. Like falling from the sky. 1 minute you're flying and the next, nothing. Just silence in a hotel room. I'd replay every mistake in my head. Even if no one noticed, I did. I'd stare at the ceiling thinking, I should have hit that note better. The high never lasted. The doubt always did.
Did being perfect and flawless ever bring you peace?
No, just a moment of quiet before the panic started again. What's next? Can I top that? What if I can't? And then the cycle repeats. It's like chasing something that keeps moving the moment you get close.
Did you ever feel like your worth was tied only to your success?
Absolutely. Without the music, the stage, the applause, I didn't know who I was. I was afraid people wouldn't love me. Just the performance, the moonwalk, the sparkle, not the person behind it.
So who is that person?
I don't know. I've spent so long being what they needed me to be. I forgot how to be anything else. Maybe I'm still looking. Maybe under all the perfection, there's just a boy who wanted to be held and heard and told, you're enough, even if you miss a step.
In this final section, Michael's words expose how his perfectionism is more than a quest for excellence. It's a shield against vulnerability and fear of rejection. His identity became inseparable from flawless performance, fueling constant anxiety and self-doubt. The brief but powerful phrase,
Maybe under all the perfection, there's just a boy who wanted to be held,
reveals a hidden emotional fragility beneath his public persona. This shows how deeply his self-worth depended on external approval, trapping him in an exhausting cycle of chasing an impossible ideal.
Now, let's take a step back to see the bigger picture and find out what our experts' final thoughts are on this session and Michael Jackson's character.
In this session, Michael Jackson shows a mind shaped by early childhood pain, identity struggles, and a constant need to control and be perfect. Beneath his famous image, there's a lot of hidden emotional pain. First, he meets the signs of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, CPTSD, caused by long-term emotional neglect and hurt in childhood. This makes it hard for him to trust others and manage his feelings. Second, he has serious identity problems, often feeling split between the person he shows to the world and who he really is inside. His changes in appearance and stage shows help hide his real self. Third, he shows obsessive-compulsive personality traits, especially in his need for perfection and repeating rehearsals. This helps him feel in control when life feels uncertain. Fourth, he also has dependent personality traits, meaning he needs a lot of approval from others and fears being left alone. His self-worth depends a lot on success and what people think of him. Finally, deep loneliness and sadness are always with him, causing symptoms of depression and making it hard to build close relationships. In summary, Michael Jackson's psychological profile reflects trauma-induced fragmentation, obsessive control, and a fragile self-concept maintained through external affirmation. A portrait of a genius struggling within the confines of his own expectations.
That was our therapy session with Michael Jackson. If you enjoyed this, or if it made you think, we've got more coming, more characters, more deep dives. Subscribe to Mind Session for more, and let us know in the comments who you'd like to see in the chair next.